to work 2 or 3 jobs to support their children, they're going to feel like they're not valued, and they're going to feel like their opinions are not accepted on our campus. So how does this powerlessness affect them and, in a long run, our community? So if a ESL student's family does not feel like they are valued or heard, or they have no power, this can kind of create a hostile environment for our ESL families. If we are, as a school, putting out the appearance that the ESL families are not valued, then the community may say, well, if the school's not valuing it, then maybe it's not worth anything. So we have to be very cautious as a campus to make sure that we value our students and value their families regardless of their backgrounds. It makes the school appear like it is being a little bit culturally insensitive and does not care about all of the members of their community if we are neglecting the ESL students and their families that don't speak English very well. It also gives them, again, a sense of hopelessness. If there is something happening to their student and they feel like there is nothing they can do because they can't communicate, that is an issue, and it could make them feel like they are being attacked or lashed out against. For our low income or single parent or alternative caregiver households, um, again, it goes back to that hostile environment. If there is not a support from the campus, from the school, then the community could in turn on this particular group of people. They may feel like their student's being forgotten because they are working so hard to support their student, keep a roof over their head, keep food in their belly, get them the supplies and the clothes that they need. They may feel like, okay, I'm doing all this work for my student, but my campus can't be bothered to help them out with this particular class or help them out with this issue. We have to make sure that we are seeing all students of all particular backgrounds. Again, it goes back to that hopelessness. If they feel hopeless, they might act out, they might shut down. It's really hard to care about school if you are not valued. So if you feel like you are not being valued, your time is not being spent in a good, cohesive learning environment, then it is a lot harder for you to care about what is happening on a test. So where do I stand on this particular type of power? In my opinion, communication is best. Okay, if we can communicate openly about what is happening on our campus, if we can communicate openly about the issues, the good things, and all of the things in between, then that leaves for a better staff and community relationship. I feel like a lot of times if we don't communicate effectively, that's when feelings get hurt, that's when people have misunderstandings, that's when information gets lost, and those little things fall into the cracks and we lose them. I've been at HISD for a long time, or for about 4 years now, like I said earlier, and I've seen firsthand how damaging a lack of communication can be. It really impacts the culture, and it really impacts the climate and the morale of the campus. So having that open and meaningful communication with staff and family is very important. You can talk all day long and you can have a conversation with somebody, but unless it is meaningful and unless they feel like they leave that conversation with a little bit more value, they feel like they have been heard, they feel like they have been seen, it doesn't matter how much we talk to them. We have to make the families feel like they are valued, seen, and appreciated. Having that open communication with families and saying, hey, these are the issues we are seeing, these are the things we're working on trying to fix it, can you help us in any way, is a great way to build a strong partnership between the student's academic life and the student's home life. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about the communication plan so that I would put into place for Henderson Middle School if I were to be principal of that campus. First of all, I would go over, this is the graphic that I would put out to my staff. I would go over why it is important that we call home and communicate with families, the different types of communication we have, how often people should be communicating with their families, some little incentives for the students so that they can feel more valued, feel like they're being heard, and feel like they have a reason to, hey, let me do some cool things so that my teacher recognizes me or my principal recognizes me. Who needs to do the communicating and who we need to communicate with, and then some resources we have available. So if we look at the why, call home and communicate with families, it's really important to communicate them communicate with families because it makes them feel like they're heard. It makes them feel like they're an active part of their students' learning. Sometimes the families may not have a huge background in education and they may not know a whole lot of what's going on. So if we include them in the conversation about what is happening in their students' life, they're going to feel like they are a much bigger part and be more active in school functions. They will be more willing to be seen and be part of the community of the campus. Types of communication. We have this awesome system called Remind that is a great way to contact home in any way, shape, or form, whoever is there. So we can use Remind app, we can use campus email, classroom phones, and campus mail. So we have these nifty little postcards in the office if you want to send a note home to a parent or a guardian or to a student saying, hey, you did a great job today. I just wanted to let you know that I saw that and I wanted to recognize that. Home communication does not have to be a negative thing. It can be a positive. The more positive communication we can have with a parent or a guardian, the better that relationship is going to be with that particular individual. How often should you communicate with a parent or a family member? We should be contacting families weekly, regardless if it is a just check in saying, hey, this is what we did in our class today. These are some of the topics we covered. These are some of the grades we took, things like that. It doesn't have to be a, hey, your student was acting up, or hey, we are doing bad in class because we can't stay focused. It can be a positive thing just to check in, say, hey, just wanted to let y'all know because you are a part of your student's life. I wanted you to know this is what we're doing in class today. Today we read a book that was about this. Ask your student about it, get them to tell you about it. Again, this should be a weekly thing. Typically, we should be calling home at least 4 times a week. I recommend that 2 out of those 4 phone calls, if you can make it, be a positive call for a behavior student. So if you have a particular student or a group of students who are known to have some behavior issues, maybe give that parent or guardian a phone call saying, hey, I know we usually don't have great, or you don't always get a positive phone call home, but I wanted you to know that your student did awesome today, or your student really showed me that they were able to do some really great things. Give them that positive phone call so that we are saying, hey, we love your kid, we want your kid to succeed, we see the good things in your kid. Student shoutouts. This is something that I'm really excited about because it is a way for the students to get recognized by their peers. Not just by their parents, but by their peers. So if we are noticing as teachers, if you see a student walking through the hall and you've noticed that they have been a great member of community, they are helping pick up trash, they are being supportive of their classmates, they are being supportive of their teachers, they are just doing some awesome things. If you notice a student who you feel like deserves some recognition as a teacher, put their fill out the form. I'm going to put a link in our graphic here. Fill out the form and let me know what they did, who they are, what grade they are, and why you feel like they should be recognized. At the end of each month, I'm going to take all those lists of students and all their accomplishments, and we're going to recognize them during their grade level lunch. So they will also get to choose a principal or assistant principal to have lunch with at their choice. Now, we would have to get together with them and schedule that with the principals or the assistant principal, but the students would get to choose. Hey, I recognize you did something awesome. Let me send a note or a phone call home to your parent saying you did awesome and that you get to have lunch with the principal or assistant principal of your choice. Just a little incentive to make them kind of feel like they have something to work for. We all love prizes, we all love recognition, so giving them that might make them want to do a little bit better. Who do we need to communicate with? I kind of already talked about that. We need to be reaching out to parents pretty much weekly. If you can make 4 positive phone calls home, or 4 phone calls home with at least 2 of them being positive, that is a pretty good way to get some buy-in from the parents. Okay, we need to try and do that weekly. Now, I understand sometimes things happen, but if we try and reach out weekly, that would be a fantastic way to build our community outreach. Again, we have resources of Remind, email. You can do phone calls with a principal. So if you are not confident in your phone call ability, if you do not want to contact a parent, you're nervous about how to do it, you don't really know how to approach an issue with a parent, contact one of your principals, contact your admin, and say, hey, I would love it if you could model this conversation with me. Would you sit in on this phone call with me, or something along those lines? It's okay to ask for help. Talking to people is sometimes scary, so asking for that help and figuring out how to best approach a situation without damaging relationships within the community and while building positive relationships in the community is a great way to get the school year started.